Hi friends! In this video we're talking about the spiritual exercises, the purpose of the exercises, how they benefit you. We'll outline the 4 stages of the exercises, and we'll talk about how we practice them on our pilgrimage. I am here at Montserrat in Spain, one of the most important sacred places that we visit while we walk the Camino of St. Ignatius. What distinguishes this pilgrimage from you walking it on your own or going with a touristy group is the immersive spiritual curriculum. St. Ignatius of Loyola is a 15th century teacher, mystic, and founder of the Jesuits. But what he's most famous for is the spiritual exercises. The exercises are a series of meditations, prayers, contemplative practices that help you deepen your relationship with God. Now, for centuries, they were only available to monks in the form of a 40-day program in complete solitude and silence. It's so intense. But in recent years, there's a whole movement to adapt the spiritual exercises as a program for serious spiritual seekers like you. And this is what we're doing on our pilgrimage. Every morning, we meet to practice the exercises, and then we'll integrate them by walking the Camino in silence for a stretch. You also have a companion workbook that guides you through the theme of the day. There are journaling prompts that take the shape of our pilgrimage, meaning that the landscape on the route that we're walking mirrors what's going on at that particular stage of the journey. You're really getting an immersive experience, inner and outer. St. Ignatius says, and this is a bit dated language, but you'll understand the sentiment. He says, the purpose of the exercises is the conquest of self and the regulation of one's life in such a way that no decision is made under the influence of any inordinate attachment. He means that our goal is to understand the fears that hold you back from making clear, wise decisions. The exercises help you tune into your inner compass and develop the freedom that you need to respond to your life's purpose. They are practical strategies for discerning what matters to you, and they give you the strength to follow through on your intuition. So if you're struggling with following through on your intuition, or you're at a crossroads in your life, or you know there's something more for you in this life, then this journey is for you. I'd like to share something personal with you. When I first did the original long-form version of the spiritual exercises, the version that lasts over 2 months, it was game-changing for me. And when you come out of this Camino, you will be equipped with all the same tools and exercises as the long-form retreat. When I entered the monastery, I was under a lot of stress. I had a huge, life-changing decision to make. And the first week was hard for me because my thoughts were so loud. But eventually, I stopped thinking altogether. And I started living exclusively in the moment. It was like my body tuned in to the rhythm of nature. Sunrise, birds, church bells, sunset, sleep, morning, coffee, exercises, evening, church bells telling me what time of day it was, when to go to meals, when to go to mass. My interior life became so quiet that at one point I was eating in the cafeteria, and the clinking of the cutlery on the plates sounded to me like a musical symphony. It was so beautiful that I almost cried. Can you believe that? I was in such an altered state because the exercises and the way that they zone you in to your interior life make you come alive in a whole new way. I could hear God's voice. I could feel the divine presence making its home in me. And the spiritual exercises gave me the courage to do what I knew I needed to do. Connecting directly with the source gave me the extra jolt of empowerment that I needed. The best part is that the skills that I developed have stayed with me to this day. The soul is a muscle, my friend. You have to exercise it. And once you're on a roll, it gets easier to stay in shape. Now, imagine all the spiritual benefits of the exercises combined with the Camino of St. Ignatius, who created them. My friend, this is an immersive, transformative experience. Hi, my friends. I'm back. I just walked from Montserrat to La Garriga. You can see Montserrat, the mountain range in the background where I came from. La Garriga is the final destination of our Camino. This is a gorgeous retreat center where we come to relax at the end of our journey. Just have a look.
Oh, hello. Yes, I'm glad we arrived here finally. I'm really tired, but this is an amazing place, so peaceful, and finally we can relax, and it's just awesome.
All right, I'll let you go relax while we talk about
Okay.
the spiritual exercises. Okay, let's talk about the 4 stages of the spiritual exercises. Each stage is characterized by a meditation, a reflective question, and a lesson for you to discover about yourself. The first stage is about our need and the need for the human race for healing and for forgiveness. Our need to surrender to the divine and let God transform our hearts so that we can live how we're meant to be, without masks, without pretend smiles or guilt or shame or these learned self-defeating patterns. This first stage is where you rediscover your inner child. And I don't mean the wounded child in you. I'm talking about the playful, inspired, fearless you. This first stage of the exercises is about separating the subjective and the objective reality so that you can see yourself clearly, my friend. You get to recognize your limitations here and be accountable for what you need to change. And you get to realize what's not your fault, the things that are environmental. And you extend forgiveness to yourself and finally let go of the past. The second stage of the spiritual exercises is about developing tools for life. So we ask ourselves big questions like, how do I discern the truth? And we explore what it would be like to be freshly inspired again. And we take time to tap into that source of our inspiration. We ask ourselves, what is my purpose? What drives me? And we cultivate a desire to be of service. We also look at the life of Jesus as a role model because he embodied divine love. He had this ultimate vocation of compassionate action. Now, don't think for a second that we're talking about church doctrine here. This is about universal spirituality and love. Like Ignatius says, since the object of our love is infinite, we can always love more and more. So no matter what your religion, or even if you're agnostic, this program is for you because we're talking about what makes us human, what gives our lives meaning, and how we're called to love one another. The third stage of the exercises is about committing to love. The first two stages are about taking the opportunity to look at your life through fresh eyes. And now, here at the third stage, you get to decide whether you want to devote yourself to this newfound depth of your spirituality. This stage has a challenge. You're going to ask yourself, can I stay committed to the great work when things get hard, when other people are judging me, when I'm feeling scared or anxious? It's this third stage that is about becoming familiar with the workings of your inner compass so that nothing in the external world can sway you from your values, your true north. Ignatius says, act as if everything depended on you, but trust as if everything depends on God. It's beautiful. This is the archetypal crucifixion, and we pray for the grace of resilience in our own lives. And then we come through this third stage into the fourth stage of the spiritual exercises. In the fourth stage, our hearts are hopeful and light as we experience our own kind of resurrection. This is a moment in which we try to recognize God's action, God's presence, and God's love in the world and within you. And by the end of the Camino, you've worked so hard through the spiritual exercises, and you've integrated them by walking, and you've shared them with a like-minded community. And you can really find intimacy with God. And that's what we're working towards. There's a unique power available to you in this combination of walking the Camino, learning the exercises, and then sharing this experience with other spiritual seekers like yourself. The reason that this journey is so empowering to your relationship with God and to your own heart and to your loved ones and with the wider world is because it gives you a disposition of finding God in all things. So don't sign up for this trip if you're expecting a tour, because this is something else. This pilgrimage is designed precisely with your spirituality in mind. Now really feels like the right time to do this, with everything that's going on in our world. So I hope that you decide to join us, my friend. We are filling up fast, so click the link below and get registered now.